we got to have a serious family talk with the NBA after this weekend. Serious family talk with the NBA. Come to Jesus meeting because, as we've said a couple of times, I don't know what it has been these last couple of weeks, Brenden, where I have invoked the Simon Cowell line, but I watched the NBA All-Star game, and I thought to myself, what the bloody hell was that? What was that? And so here's my thoughts. All-Star game was bad. It's been bad for a long, long time. Never going to make these guys play hard because financially there is no incentive to. There is no incentive to play hard in the All-Star game. There's no reason to. They make far too much money. And for those that want to go, boy, well, back in my day, that's true. Back in your day, other than the top 2 or 3 guys, including Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan was crazy competitive, so he played hard most All-Star games anyways. But other than the top 2 or 3 guys, if you had a moment or a performance in an All-Star game, that could put you on a platform nationally, globally, that you could never have before because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the internet. Players weren't in charge of their own brand. Nobody had their own Instagram. We didn't have League Pass, all that stuff. And for certain guys, like I very much remember in 1992, Magic Johnson won the All-Star Game MVP. And it was obviously after Magic was diagnosed with HIV. But if you go back, and Blazer fans will tell you, Clyde Drexler had the best game that day. And Clyde Drexler, in that year, put himself in the conversation with Michael Jordan. Now, the NBA Finals came around. The Blazers would ultimately lose in 6. Clyde would be gone in a couple of years. But because of All-Star Game performances, you could put yourself in conversations. You could put yourself in certain places to be so much more marketable. It was a stage. Last night was not a stage. Last night was an open mic night. It was like, yeah, let's feel it out a little bit. Let's try some new stuff. And
are we saying it was the Dundies at Applebee's, Justin?
It is Adam Silver's Dundies. It is.
It's just saying.
It's like, is the only one having fun here? Like, it's like a 3-year-old's birthday. And it's like, so, coming up in about 15 minutes, I just have some thoughts on, like, I am not going to sit here and be like, oh, the NBA needs to fix the All-Star game to make the league better. No, that's preposterous. But I think the All-Star game is a pretty good window into what you as a hardcore basketball fan, if you are a hardcore basketball fan, as an NBA fan, if you are listening to this program, which I think we have a lot of people that do, and you look at that All-Star game, Brenden, you are a fairly big basketball fan, right? And you watched that All-Star game, and what were your thoughts?
Just annoyed. Like it was not a fun product to watch.
That is how average Joe sees regular season NBA games.
And I don't.
That's how you watch it as a. I love basketball. We talk about the NBA all the time. We've got a whole segment about it called Round Ball Rock, and we're on Rip City Radio, for crying out loud. The way that we as hardcore basketball fans watch the All-Star game, going like, huh, what is this? That's average Joe or average Jane. No, average. But saw Twitter this weekend. Boy, don't want to fire it up. But that's how average person, sports fan, views regular season NBA. 3-point contest. Nobody's trying on defense. Now, if you watch enough NBA, you know that's not entirely the case. But if you are a casual, and guess what? The casuals are what pay the bills. All right? In media, there's P1s, P2s, and P3s. I don't know if we do it anymore, but I'm old. P1s, those are the people that are going to be there no matter what. You got them hooked. It's the P2s and the P3s. Those are the people that you need to bring into your product. Those are the people who are on Sunday night going like, what do we watch? Do we finish True Detective or should we watch the All-Star game? Those are the people. And those people looked at that and was like, I don't know. This is not for me, dog.
When do you think this changed? Like, it seems cliche to just say it's LeBron's fault, but you mentioned Jordan. I remember Kobe going very hard in All-Star games. Is this a LeBron problem?
No, it's a social media problem. It's the more and more the internet, and this is my little theory, but the more and more the internet became part of our lives, the less these games mattered. It mattered back. Kobe came into the league in the 90s, right? The internet was not in our pocket. Internet was in the library. You had to ask Mrs. Lewis.
You love to say that.
Well, it's because that's how I grew up. I remember when the internet was invented. What up, Al Gore?
It's amazing.
By the way, Al Gore did have a little hand in that. We make fun of him, but he did. But like I remember when the internet was invented, and it was like we had to go to the library, and you asked Mrs. Lewis to be on the computer, and she was like, "You can't only go to can't look at. Can I look at sports? No, it's only school stuff, only learning. That's how the internet was." But the internet wasn't in our pocket in the 90s. Heck, when did the iPhone come out? 05? When was look up first like iPhone, like I remember the iPhone like 3G was like the first one that like everybody had.
The first iPhone came out in 07.
07.
So it's longer than I thought.
That's when, like, and on the BlackBerry you could, but there was, iPhone came into our lives, 07, 08, 09, became internet went to our pockets, right? Didn't have to go to the office to log into the internet. You didn't have to, internet became in our pockets. And with that, we didn't need to watch the All-Star game or exhibitions like that to see the highlights. So that's part of it. The other part of it is the game, thanks to Michael Jordan, and then thanks to LeBron James, and thanks to the game went global. The game went global in huge markets like China, and massive amounts of money came flooding into the NBA. Massive amounts. And when players' salaries got around $40 million per year, and I'm going to play defense in an all-star game, try again. I make $40 million. So I don't think the all-star game is the problem. I think the all-star game is this not even the symptom. It's a little bit of the symptom. Like, oh, why does the all-star game stink? Well, let's dive a little bit deeper and let's figure out why. So we're going to do that coming up about 5 or 6 minutes because we got some time. NBA doesn't tip off again until Thursday. It is going to be a stretch run, but for a lot of football fans, say what you will, but the NFL's crushing it. When you look at ratings, when you look at most watched Super Bowl ever, you look at all that stuff, NFL's still crushing it. And most football fans were like, oh, let's tune into the All-Star. This is what they're giving me. So that's going to be coming up in a bit. Also, can we just have like some fun in sports anymore? Can we just have fun? We're in an era right now where women's basketball, especially women's college basketball, and to a bit, you look at the WNBA, is at an all-time peak in popularity. Things are going well. There is a fan base, people like Caitlin Clark has taken over the sports world. Sabrina had a moment with Steph Curry on Saturday. Why do we got to complain about everything? Can we just have some fun in the sports world? But it's like, I think Kenny Smith said, oh, what about the three-point line? And then everybody had to freak out about that. And it was like, did you understand the context of it? Or did you just find something to be upset about? Because I'm watching it on social media, and I'm like, look to me like Steph Curry, Sabrina Ionescu, fun shooting exhibition, two of the best shooters of all time in their respective leagues. Boy, what a moment for basketball. What a moment for basketball. And then my algorithm gets filled up with, oh, but he said this. Like, whew, just take in the moment. Like, look at what happened. I'm old enough to remember the stories of the Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs, and Battle of the Sexes, and I know it was an incredibly important time, and Title IX was huge and everything else. But most people know like it was a made for TV event. Bobby Riggs he was well past his prime. Steph Curry not past his prime. He was in a whole lot of gambling debt. Did a mockery of it. Billie Jean King mopped the floor with him, and if you go back and look at it, it was one of those things where you're like, yeah, that probably wasn't the best way to go. This was not a mockery. This was a great celebration of basketball in 2024. Put the swords down, everybody. Let's just stop with the complaining and just embrace the moment. Also, I saw Jason Williams got raked over the coals this week. Caitlin Clark is an incredible, transcendent, all-time great figure in women's college basketball. Coverage is as high as it's ever been. They would never, on College Game Day, basketball version of College Game Day, cut out one, let alone multiple segments. But when you get to be that level of transcendence, you know what we do in the sports world? And as I have always said, it's the toy department we nitpick. We do LeBron versus Jordan once a week just to keep our skills up. Some like Jason Williams said, Caitlin Clark's not the greatest because she didn't win a championship. What do you think we've been doing for the last 2 weeks? Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. It's an ultimate sign of respect. If you are in the argument for greatest of all time, and if you are nitpicked, guess what? This is the ultimate sign of respect in the sports world. That we are nitpicking you. Celebrate a little bit. But I don't know how much the commissioner was celebrating the All-Star game last night. And we're going to hear from the commissioner on the podium. Dad didn't seem happy with the house party when he came home from work or came home from his business trip. We'll talk about, is the All-Star game a deeper problem in the NBA, or is this just a one-off thing that time has proven to be irrelevant? That discussion coming up next, 620 Rip City Radio. right, so last night, a lot of the sports world tuned in, I guess, to the NBA All-Star Game. And what they got was a big dull dud. It was a big dull dud. I was watching a little bit here and there. To be perfectly honest, I made it to it went onto the second screen in my house because I had to figure out what happened up in Alaska in True Detective. And, boy, we figured it out. But
good ending? I still haven't seen it. So
yeah. I have some questions, but then again, as I've been told by my wife a handful of times, like, this is why you ruin things. Yeah. She's like, you know how I tell you, like, this is, like, you ruin things? You're doing it right now. Because there was something that happened, but it would be a total massive spoiler, so I'm not going to do that. But we're going to go back to the All-Star Game. So the All-Star Game happens, and, you know, the NFL has the Super Bowl, right? NFL's got the Super Bowl. No matter what, who wins, who loses, everybody knows when the Super Bowl is. Everybody knows where the Super Bowl is going to be played. And as an NFL fan, if you've got the money, you may, at some point in your life, make a trek to the Super Bowl, regardless of if your favorite team is in it or not. I'm fairly certain there were a lot of people in Las Vegas who were not Chiefs and or 49er fans. They're just there for the Super Bowl because that's what the NFL has created. It is the week-long celebration of your league. That's what they got. Major League Baseball and the NBA, obviously they don't have that. Major League Baseball and the NBA, when it comes to the World Series, when it comes to the NBA Finals, they don't know where it's going to be. They don't know when it's going to be played. They don't know if it's going to be going to 4 games. They don't know if it's going to be going to 7 or somewhere in between. Don't know. We know on Super Bowl Sunday somebody is hoisting a trophy up. NBA might be in Game 4, might be in Game 6. It might be in Boston. It might be in Los Angeles. It might be in Phoenix. Like, we don't know. And so that's why the All-Star Game for the league is, I believe, such an important event, especially for a guy like Adam Silver. It is the one time where if you were an NBA fan, you go like, hey, boom, All-Star, it's in Indianapolis. All the best players are going to be there. Let's go. And I could only imagine if you decided to spend your hard-earned money and go to Indianapolis, hang out at All-Star Weekend. Now, you got to see Jokic and Luka and Dame and Giannis and all stars up and down. But when you watched that game last night, you got to be thinking to yourself, boy, what is going on with this league? And so I figured right now, let's have a conversation. And I know I say a conversation. It's going to be one-sided because I'm going to be talking into this microphone. But let's have a conversation. Is the All-Star Game indicative of a deeper problem in the NBA as opposed to its appeal to casual sports fans? The NBA hardcores, they're going to watch. They're going to watch the games. They're going to get League Pass. They're going to watch the playoffs. They're going to tweet about it. They're going to Instagram about it. They're going to TikTok about it. Like, you've already got all of the hardcores. You've got them. Where you make your money in the sports business is with the casuals. That's where you make your money. We talk about with college football, right? I'm a college football hardcore. I watch mid-level Big Ten games on a Thursday. He's like, hey, college football's on. But it's the casuals who are like, we're going to go to Autzen. We're going to go to Reeser. I know a buddy. He's got a tailgate spot. Those casuals, some may say the bandwagoners, but that's how you make your money. And I would imagine that most of the casual sports fans in our country, tuned in to the NBA and was like, that, the All-Star game was like, that's bad. What is this even accomplishing? And it felt like this year was a little bit different as well. It's been like this forever. I've been doing radio shows for the past 19 years, and let me tell you, the Monday after NBA All-Star game is where we all complain. It just is. We all complain about, boy, the All-Star game, it was different back then. But this one felt a little bit different, and it's not just me, and it's not just the hot take artists on ESPN, and it's not just the the outrage tweeters on the X. This is what the commission. Keep in mind, this is the NBA's biggest showcase. This is the NBA's showcase event. They don't have a Super Bowl. They've got an NBA Finals, but that's not the Super Bowl. This is it. And Adam Silver, when handing out the All-Star Game championship, seemed less than enthused with the product that he was putting out. This was the commissioner of the league talking about the All-Star Game winning team. Let's hear from Adam Silver. Mm-hmm. Well, what? You scored the most points. Well, congratulations. All right. We're going.
He's not happy in that.
He's not. So, there's a couple of things we need to talk about. First off, Adam, you created this. Created this. As a commissioner, Adam Silver has done, I think, a lot of really good things. Global branding. The NBA is a global sport. Now, David Stern started that in 1992. David Stern started the first step of the NBA becoming a global brand by putting the NBA players on the Dream Team. They went to Barcelona, and boom, NBA basketball exploded worldwide. Then, the first generation of international players, and now the best players in the league are all international players. It's Giannis, it's Jokic, it's Luka. You would know it from watching them play in the All-Star game, but believe it or not, Luka and Jokic, those are some of the best. So you have this global brand that I think Adam Silver has done a good job as a commissioner of leaning into that. But things aren't so great at home, I would imagine. When you look at NFL ratings, when you look at how many people watch the Super Bowl, when you look at how many people are watch women's college basketball, which we talked about last segment, and by the way, good for them. This is not a criticism, it's an observation. Women's college basketball is outdrawing NBA regular season games. Caitlin Clark is a bigger draw, eyeballs-wise, than an NBA regular season game. And if Adam Silver has anybody to be upset about, Mir's right here. Because under his watch, the NBA has turned into kind of a whiny little baby league. I don't like where I'm playing. Trade me. Okay, fine. He used to whine to David Stern, and he'd be like, tough something else. Can't say it on the radio. Well, that's just hard cheese. I think somebody's grandpa probably said that one time in their life. Because David Stern did not care about being beloved by the players. David Stern was like, I am not here to be best friends with Michael Jordan. I am here to build a league. I am here to run a business. And I got to do the things that are good for business. League's image is taking a hit in middle America. Is it fair? No. Sorry, dress code. Can't wear the clothes you want. Yeah, that's not fair. It wasn't, but League's image taking a hit, middle America. We got to make some changes. We got off the court. We got suspensions coming down. Too many fights in this league. Guess what? You leave the bench, you're suspended. Amari Stoudemire in the middle of a massively important Western Conference playoff series, and you took 2 steps. Guess what? You're suspended. That's the rule. We don't mess around. And looking back, boy, David Stern, while at the time he would get booed when he would go and hand out the trophy, and Mark Cuban would always fight with him, but at the end, nobody ever questioned where his loyalty was. His loyalty was to the league. Meanwhile, under Adam Silver's watch, the NBA has become a much more player-friendly league. And for a while, it seemed like this is the breath of fresh air this league needed. Players need to have a little bit more empowerment. But has now that player empowerment led to, it used to be a joke that the All-Star game was a layup line. It wasn't even a layup line last night. It was a shoot-around. The most boring form of basketball of all time. I was watching the TNT pregame coverage, and I think they're asking Shaq or somebody about, what do certain guys need to prove tonight? And I think maybe Dame was part of that because it's the first time ever as an All-Star starter. And there are a couple of guys in there, like Tyrese Halliburton's, and I think that's his first All-Star game or close to his first All-Star game. It's like, what are these guys? And Shaq made a very, I thought, intriguing statement. He said, you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You're already an All-Star. What you need to do is go out and put on a show. And that used to be the mantra. Don't need to prove anything to anybody. Now, back in the 80s, and again, it's never going to be like it was in the 80s, and it wasn't always better back then. But just for historical context, back in the 80s, you had to prove something in an All-Star game. Hey, Michael Jordan, yeah, you're not getting the ball. We're freezing you out. The Bulls may let you shoot all the time, but you're not going to get the ball. And Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, and a bunch of other guys made it real clear to Michael Jordan, yeah, you're not getting the ball. Then the 90s came around, and it was a place where you could build up your – and by the 2000s, it was exactly what Shaq said. You don't need to prove anything. You're an all-star. Time to put on a show. Was there ever a lot of defense? No. Do we really want to see defense? No. But you know what I'd like to see? A smidge of effort. A smidge of seriousness. Play a game of basketball. You don't have to slap the floor and start, playing hardcore defense, but you could at least be in position. You could at least run to half court. And I very much understand that I sound like a grumpy old man yelling at a cloud. But this is how average sports fan looks at regular season NBA. And if they don't understand some of these things, this league could be in a smidge of trouble. Now, the NBA is not going anywhere. Don't get me wrong. Not saying the NBA is going to, but you keep upping and upping and up in salaries, right? In an era where TV viewership is becoming less and less valuable because everybody is cutting the cord. And would
TV exist, Justin, as we know it? Would live cable, and I was having this conversation with somebody in my house yesterday, would cable exist, or even the big 5 original OG networks, would they exist without
What's the 5? What's the 5th one?
Isn't it ABC, CBS? Did I mean to say big 4?
For me, it was ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox.
Yeah, I guess that's the big 4. Sorry, yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, just to...
I was wondering if you were throwing the WB in there or something.
No. I
Dawson's Creek was a good show.
Yeah.
Okay. What?
But other than local news,
yeah,
and live sports,
boom.
Why do they exist? They don't. Everything else you can watch on your streaming service.
Yeah, the only other thing I would say,
weather, maybe too. That counts as local news.
Stuff on in the morning when you're getting ready to go. Hey, let's throw on the Today Show. Because you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
But, yeah, to a point, you're right. But looking down the future, if the NBA continues with a product that looks like it looked last night, and is the All-Star game number 1 priority list of things to fix in this league? No. No, it is not. But it is a view inside. And I think for a lot of hardcore basketball fans, maybe a view of what the rest of the sports world looks at your sport like. We're not even trying. load management, the amount of time off, tanking. You know what that all equates back to? Not trying. I understand that tanking is a strategy to get better at building a roster. But you know what else it is? It's not trying. Load management, I understand, as a strategy to keep players, especially star players who may be on the back end of their 18, to keep fresh legs because it only matters in the playoffs. I understand that as a strategy. But you know what? A lot of sports fans look at that as not trying. You're not trying. You watched the NBA All-Star game last night, and it was a full-on display of not trying. How do we put on uniforms, have a ball, a score, and a clock, and we're just not going to try? That's the problem. That's the problem the NBA has. And it's not just the All-Star game. It's the load management. It is the tanking. It's a culture of not trying. Players wanting out. Players wanting out of contracts. Players wanting out of situations. And again, I understand all of it. I live in this NBA world. I'm not trying to tell you how I feel because I understand. I don't like tanking. I understand it's a strategy to get better. I know what Oklahoma City did, and I know what Houston did, and I know kind of what Minnesota did, but not really. Like, I understand it. And I understand about load management because I watched how many first-round exits that the Blazers took because Damian Lillard was clearly gassed because he would not load manage, and everybody else was. I get it as a strategy. I'm not telling you about me. I'm telling you about regular guys and girls out there who just like sports and go to the NBA. They don't try. They don't try. The NFL, and again, it's different. It's 17 games. It's cutthroat. Try every day. Baseball, it's a pastime. But is there any doubt when you go watch a baseball game that the pitcher is trying? There's no pitcher in a baseball game that's like, hey, here's an underhand one. See, like,
even the MLB All-Star game, there's just no way to,
because the pitchers have to pitch.
Right. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to throw this one about 60 miles an hour and just take some, Yeah,
and in the NFL Pro Bowl, they're not trying, but guess what? They don't need to because we've already went through 17 weeks of the most intense, they built up the credit to be able to be lazy at the Pro Bowl. The NBA hasn't, not in their regular season. And I'm not sitting here saying the NBA players are lazy. I'm saying that's the perception. And the perception was put on full display last night. And for Adam Silver to be like, well, yeah, that one's on you, dude. It's on you. All right, we're going to talk more All-Star Game reaction because, again, what is the job of the commissioner? Is this fixable? Is it a fixable problem? Can we unspread the peanut butter, as I like to say? Talk about that next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, wrapping up hour number one. And reaction to the NBA All-Star game last. All right, so I was about to say this would be the last I say about it, but that's not true. We got 2 more hours of the show, and it's the biggest thing going on in sports right now. We are going to definitely talk some NFL draft. I have a crazy thought about the Chicago Bears. Crazy thought about the Chicago Bears. We'll talk about that coming up in a bit. But the one thing I remember when the criticism was like, oh, it's just a layup line of dunks. And I was like, yeah, but that's not the worst thing in the world. I like a good dunk contest. Like, oh, it's not even an all-star game. It's just a dunk contest. Boy, we'd take that last night, wouldn't we? I remember when it was nothing but like it was fast breaks, lobs, and alley-oops. And it's like, and again, kind of talking about where the league is. And like, nobody even wanted to dunk last night. Jokic tried. I think Luka got rim checked, trying to throw it off the backboard. Like, nobody can dunk anymore, except for the Mac McClung kid from. Does he even play for the Magic, or is he like a two-way guy?
Doesn't play that often, I don't think.
I don't even know. I think he's a two-way contract. I think so. Which fine, good for, it's fun. He showed up and tried hard. That was nice to see. But I remember when the criticism of the All-Star game was always like, it's just nothing but a dunk contest out there. It's like, I'll take that over this shoot-around that I saw. Adam Silver. Well, yeah, Adam. He spent all week, and I saw him because he did the rounds, trying to sell everybody. We're back to East-West. Like, we're done with because people didn't, I don't know. Maybe people liked it. I didn't. The weird scoring system that they used the last couple of years, I didn't like it.
The Kobe system or whatever it was,
like
8 plus 24 kind of a thing.
Yeah, that was in honor of Kobe, but it was also another, like, they use it in, like, the TBT, like the basketball tournament in the summer.
Okay.
Anyways,
yeah,
it's
I
an interesting.
It super closely.
It's fun to do for a summer tournament in basketball. It's the All-Star game here, and I don't think people like that all that much. They did we're going to try to draft players, and Giannis will have a team, and LeBron will have a team, and it's like that didn't go over all that well. That didn't, and it was like, okay, Adam Silver. It almost felt like he was trying to sell. It's All-Star Game Classic. The All-Star game you love, just with new players. And we're going to have East, and we're going to have West, and we're going to play a game, and it's not going to be weird scoring, and boom, boom, boom. 221 to 186. And again, I am not blaming the players. Not blaming Would you try hard if you didn't have to? Could you imagine if you showed up and you were like Paolo Banchero and you're like, I'm playing this game, and everybody's like, easy, young fella. Easy, but like, so I feel like there was a Seinfeld bit, right? Which was like, if the horses knew what would happen if they ever got into if they ever broke their leg, no horse would ever run fast.
Right.
It was like, easy, buddy. We're all just here to get out of this safe.
I also feel like you and I and everybody else, pretty much who's listening today, Justin, maybe our good friend Pounce, who played some basketball pretty competitively later in life, I believe Pounce played collegiately.
Yeah, he played at Pacific.
Yeah,
he's a boxer.
Yeah, so my thought with that is like, Justin, like, what you're saying is correct, but just how Brenden Slaughter, am wired, I would never know or never be able to approach something that is my job, which is what it is for them.
Yeah.
It'd be like you and I shaking it. I'd be like, all right, Brenden and Justin are going to go do a broadcast live from the liquor store in Barber. And it'd be like,
let's do that.
And I should be like, okay, well, it's not real, so I'm not going to try to show up for Justin. Like,
but now imagine if
that's weird to me, you know?
It is, but like, imagine you get together and like you're in a group. There's 7 other radio shows there, and we were the only ones trying. It's social structures.
I get it. But you get what I'm getting at.
And it's the whole, if you slip up and do something, you don't get paid, or you might affect your payment.
Right.
That's all. That's why I say I don't blame the players. I wish this game was competitive. Maybe the money is just too much.
I blame them a little. I do, just because there is something to you. Like what I saw last night,
But
Justin.
the culture has been created, I believe, from the top down, from the commissioner to the governors on down.
Totally agree. I just think, like, if one, like, it's kind of one of those things where I think a lot of players would probably follow, like, 2 or 3. So if Braun in the locker room was like, hey, guys, we're going to give it our all tonight. I'm not saying slap the floor, that kind of.
Yeah.
But, like,
I'm with you.
they could do more. They could.
And that's got to come from the commissioner.
It does.
But
And
the problem
what
is,
else can he do?
not like what I'll tell you what he could do. He could be a vice principal and not a best buddy, right?
This is true.
You can run the league like,
AKA parenting in 2024, Justin. It's like Adam Silver. These are all his
Hey,
kids.
listen,
It's true.
kids are hard. I
It's
don't
like
have
these
any.
are all his kids.
You don't have
And
any either. I don't know if kids are
He
difficult.
won't tell his kids to be home at a certain time, Justin.
But like, Roger Goodell goes out to the draft and he gets booed at the draft. Why? Because he's a vice principal, right? He's the boss. He's like that. You're not supposed to be liked. You're the commissioner. You're the one that has to say no. You're the one that like. I don't want to say no, but I have to. Like, for the good of the league. Rob Manfred, like, he's not my favorite commissioner out there, but Rob Manfred, like, you've got to say no at some particular time. And Adam Silver has just been like, what do you guys think? Now, I'm sure that's not the way it is. I'm sure. But, like, if you guys just let me have my in-season tournament, you guys can just cruise right through the All-Star game. And so that's it would be nice. It would be nice if like commissioners and then veterans in the league. And again, LeBron James, if LeBron James and the veterans in the league said, hey, guys, let's put on a show. Let's do it. Let's go out there. And like you said, we don't need to slap the floor. We don't need to, like, set hard screens. We don't need to throw any elbows. But let's just go out and put on a show. I wonder, like, how many players would be receptive to that. And it'd be fascinating to see, actually, how much pull does LeBron... Because right now, the players are like, dude, it's senior spring. We don't have to try. They're just happy we're here. They're just happy we showed up. But again, maybe we're past, Back to the Future 3. We're already past the windmill, right? And there's no getting over Shonash Ravine that's going to become Clayton Ravine, and that's going to become Eastwood Ravine. Shout out Back to the Future 3. I love that movie. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're just too far past the windmill. I don't know. But like I said, the All-Star game is not the problem. The problem is that's how average fan looks at this league and goes, nobody's even trying. Why? If you don't care, why should I care? I'm going to watch True Detective. And bink, bink, bink. All right. I got some football stuff coming up in hour number 2. We do have a Make or Miss coming up in hour number 2. Jim Moore from KGR Radio in Seattle coming up in hour number 3. Fun stuff on the way. It is 620 Rip City Radio. It is 7 a.m. on a Monday morning. Justin Myers with you. NBA All-Star Game went down yesterday as the East gets the victory over the West, 221-186, with the highest scoring All-Star game in the history of the league. Damian Lillard walked away with MVP honors, 39 points. Dame also won the three-point contest on All-Star Saturday night, but dare I say the NBA All-Star contest was upstaged by Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu in the WNBA NBA three-point challenge as Steph edges Sabrina in that first-time contest. Coming up in hour number 3, we're going to talk to a friend of the program from KGR Radio up in Seattle. Jim Moore is going to join the show, but hour number 2 of RCM gets going right now at 620 Rip City Radio. All right, welcome back to Rip City Mornings. Happy Monday, everybody. We're going to talk some more All-Star Game coming up later on in the big show. I do think, I don't know. Maybe we're just a little bit bored. I don't know. But this feels a little bit more of, all right, what is the NBA doing right now with this All-Star Game? I said on Friday, I threw out a hot take. I go, do we even need All-Star Games anymore? Because we don't. It's an outdated exhibition that truly does not have a place in culture anymore. It doesn't. It doesn't need to be there. Now, they're not going to. The NFL is all but done away with the Pro Bowl. They show up, they play some flag football in Vegas. Guys get paid to show up. But they're pretty much done away with it. Baseball, because of the way baseball is structured, no pitcher is going to go out there and throw it, hey, here's a batting practice fastball. Let's see how hard you can hit it, Aaron Judge. They're going to try to get somebody out. That's the beauty of the structure of baseball is the All-Star Game in baseball. Even if it's a blowout, it's never going to be like what we just saw last night with the NBA because pitchers are always going to have to try. You have to try or else we'll be here all day. We're never going to get out of here. So that leaves the NBA All-Star Game. And it was bad. Can we play the commissioner again real quick? Because this is, do you want to know how bad it was last night? If you want to understand how kind of embarrassing this was for the league last night, Adam Silver couldn't even fake it. Here we go.
And to the Eastern Conference All-Stars, you scored the most points. Well, congratulations.
Didn't even say they won. Didn't even say
That's
they
so
won.
bad. He's so peeved in that clip.
Well, you scored the most points.
Justin, did someone peeve in his Cheerios in this particular instance, man? Because you can just, Adam Silver is normally, at least, I'm just going to say a happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
He knows how to speak really well. He's a great speaker. Even when he's talking about things that are difficult to talk about, like Ja Morant, you could hear, the captivation in his voice. It sounded like he was really done with a really long weekend.
100%, because I know that the entire week, because he was on McAfee show, he was on First Take, I was on NBA on TNT, he was everywhere because this is his showcase, right? This is his Super Bowl, right? The NBA Finals, I mentioned the first hour, the NBA Finals, we don't know where they're going to be every single year. We know where the All-Star Game is going to be, and
that's interesting. I've never really had that click. It's we know where the Super Bowl is every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
We know where the Super Bowl is going to be. We know where the Rose Bowl is going to be. At least we used to. I don't know what's going to happen there. But
the Rose Bowl is going to be at the Sugar Bowl.
Well, no, but is the Rose Bowl still going to be a thing? Well,
sure.
Stephen A. is sitting there yelling about they need to move the Rose Bowl to SoFi, and it's because of the traffic. And I'm like, dude, have you been to SoFi? Traffic ain't any better there. It's Los Angeles, homie. I went to a concert at SoFi, and I'm like, this is ridiculous where they built this stadium. Every stadium should be built by the airport. Let me just throw it. Every stadium, everywhere.
Vegas got it right.
Should just be built by the airport. Land out there forever. Anyways. But you know where college basketball, we know where the Final Four is going to be. And that's where everybody in college basketball shows up. I was lucky enough to cover Final Four. Like it's a celebration of the game on top of crowning a champion. We know that on that Monday after the Saturday semifinals, we're going to see one shining moment. You don't have that in the NBA. We don't know when the NBA finals are. We don't know if it's going to be a good final. It might be in 4 games. It might be on a Tuesday. It might be on a Sunday. We don't know. And so what they do know is when the All-Star game is. And that was the showcase. And it was perfectly timed for the NBA for years and years and years, right? Because on the sports calendar, even back when the Super Bowl was played in January, it's going to be right after the Super Bowl. Super Bowl is going to happen. NBA All-Star Weekend is going to happen right in the middle of February. Not a lot of sports going on. Perfect time. Hadn't hit spring training yet. NFL draft isn't until April. Coming down from a bit of a Super Bowl hangover. Here it is. The perfect time in the middle of the long, cold winter to showcase your and the players are just like, yeah, I guess. I guess we'll show up and try. So to see the commissioner just like openly frustrated. But again, this one's on you. It's on you. You were so pumped to get out there and have all the players like you that you forgot bring the hammer down. And you've created a culture in the NBA of not trying. And I went through all the things last out, right? It's load management. It's leaving contracts early. It's the trade demands. It is hopping from team to team. I'm on this team. I'm not feeling it. I won't try anymore. We've seen it. Like players just like, yeah. We saw Ben Simmons, one of the most highly touted rookies in the NBA, just stop trying. In the middle of, how much is he getting paid? $30 million? He's getting paid, like Ben Simmons was paid around $30 million, and he just stopped trying. You see teams, the Portland Trail Blazers, just stop trying. I know it's a strategy. I get it. But it's a strategy of not trying. And boy, it was the not trying culture of the NBA was just on display last night. We're not going to try. The box score is fascinating, by the way. 143 shot attempts for the Western Conference, 146. The Eastern Conference All-Stars shot 97 three-pointers. Made 42 of them. 43% from three. Dame walks away with the MVP. He shot 23 three-pointers last night. It was never, like, in the last 20, 25, heck, even 30 years. It's never been a knockdown, drag out, let's all try our hardest. It is for the pride of the West and the pride of the East and all that stuff. It hasn't been that for a while. But at least it was a dunk contest with some fun stuff to watch. At least, like, you used to be able, Justin's yelling at the clouds again, but you used to be able to be like, that is at least athleticism on display. Now it's like, it's a shoot-around. It's a shoot-around. And it's the only place in sports where we kind of accept it, or in entertainment for that matter. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if like Usher at the halftime show gave that performance? Yeah, no. You want me to really perform? Come watch me at my residency where you pay for it. Jennifer Hudson worked the hardest of anybody last night during the halftime show. By the way, shout out Jennifer Hudson. So, yeah, Adam Silver, probably a little frustrated, but Mir, looking back at you, probably the guy to start with. And again, it's a topic on ESPN right now. Is the All-Star game fixable? No, until you start paying the players less money. That ain't happening. This is economics is what this is. There is no financial incentive to try hard. in this All-Star game. And you know what? If it don't make money, it don't make sense. I guess if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. I screwed up the Wu-Tang Clan line. Sorry. My apologies to the RZA.
But yeah, and just
My apologies to the entire Wu-Tang Clan.
right, and
And the Knights of the Shaolin, I screwed up the lyric.
yeah, and everything you just mentioned, Justin.
I had it too, and I blew the lyric.
All good, man. The plane still landed. We may have blown out a door plug, but the plane still landed.
No, we don't joke about that.
So we're good.
Some of us are flying on Alaska in about 5 weeks. We're not joking about doors
So I
flying
think
off.
someone who's flying on that specific Alaska plane before you gets to make those jokes, and I'm flying on one in like a week. So yes, but no, Justin, you look up on ESPN right now. They're doing a video where they were highlighting players walking up the court, sitting in a corner, maybe talking to the people in the first row. Like, it's a joke.
We are closer to abolishing the game than actually fixing it. We just
should.
are.
I have an idea on how to fix it, too. Stay tuned for Make or Miss.
Okay, look at that. Professional radio tease right there. An idea coming up. But
Justin will not like it. I'll start with this, but it's an idea.
Here's the honest to goodness, and I don't know what your idea is because we keep Make or Miss a secret. People probably figured that one out by now. Yeah, clearly you guys aren't prepared for that segment or any of them for that matter. But here's the only, is the All-Star game fixable? The only way the All-Star game gets fixable, honest to goodness, is if the NBA falls further and further into irrelevance to where a young group of players who are probably in high school right now maybe understand that this could be a potential place for me to showcase ability and market myself and make more money. Right now, they don't have to. They don't have to. Nobody, Dame had a great game. Dame's already pretty famous. Of all the players in the All-Star game, who, I would say, guy that probably could have had the biggest bump would be Tyrese Halliburton, right? It was in Indianapolis. He's a guy who I think most basketball fans know is great, but I don't know if a lot of casuals know who Tyrese Halliburton is. He was a guy that could have had, but even then it's why am I going to try hard? Nope, nobody else is.
I would have Towns dropping 50 was a very I know it was silly but that kind of stood out to me a little bit.
But I was kind of watching it because I had it on the second screen.
I don't blame
also
you.
True Detective got a little scary last night, so I needed a little because I don't do scary stuff all that well.
Yeah, sure.
And I needed a little distraction before because it was getting intense. But anyways. I'm watching Karl Anthony Towns, and I was I didn't know how many points he had because I was and I'm oh, he's got 48, but he's just he's running a layup line.
It's just 35 shots to get 50 points. Is that really all that impressive? Not really.
How many minutes did he play?
28. That's the most of tied for the high in West.
If anybody in there played 38 minutes, and you could have probably scored 75 points. If you just even hustled it to the
but Anthony,
it was unguarded lay-in.
Right. And so I take a look at somebody like Anthony Edwards. 13 minutes, Justin, he shot the ball 3 times. Anthony Edwards might have a case.
Yeah, because I'm good.
Right. Anthony Edwards has a case for being one of the best players, maybe the best player in the NBA this year. He's up there, right? I think it's him, Shea, maybe Jokic again, but it's just not a good product, man.
It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow last night. But you know it's not a tough pill to swallow? You know it's not a bad product, but in fact a great product? Our version of Make or Miss, which is coming up next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, coming up in an hour from now, Jim Moore, friend of the program from KJR Radio up in Seattle. We'll talk to him about a lot of changes going on with the Seattle Seahawks. As a massive Washington State fan, I'm sure he's heartbroken about what's going on with the Washington Huskies. And get his thoughts on Tiger Woods.
His Cougs men's basketball team. They're making moves, man.
They're good. Nobody's going to the games. What's going on in Pullman?
I have to ask him. Yeah. But they're good. They are.
They're like, what, second place in the conference, I think, behind Arizona? I want to say they're in second place. And they're averaging like 2,700 people a game.
Yeah, they're 11-4, 20-6, man. Let's go Coug basketball. That's awesome. Happy for them.
Fun little run the final year of the Pac-12, you know?
I'm glad they did it for the men.
It is the weirdest thing because obviously we are football obsessed, and I'm guilty of that. And all of the moves that were made with regard to the Pac-12 were all football based, but it hasn't hit me yet. Like Pac-12 basketball's over in like 3 weeks. It's like 4 weeks, somewhere around there. I don't really even count the Pac-12 tournament.
Okay, so if you don't count that, you're 2 weeks.
Okay, so with the Pac-12 tournament, like 4 weeks?
Yeah, because I think
it's just over. It's done. The conference of Lou Alcindor slash Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the conference of, Gary Payton.
Alan Crabb.
Well, we would go from Lou Alcindor to Alan Crabb.
Oh, yeah, well, the Pac-12 mid-2000s basketball was the best.
But, like, Bill Walton.
3 weeks left, I apologize.
We got 3 weeks left.
Yep.
Damon Stoudemire, right?
Andre Iguodala. Channing Frye.
Steve Kerr. Even Dylan Brooks.
Oh, absolutely.
Is over. This is done.
Got to add in.
Finito kaput.
Got to throw in Drew Eubanks, man. Toughest dude in the NBA. Taking punches from Isaiah Stewart and still playing.
How come we haven't seen that video yet?
Dude,
Where's that video at, Phoenix?
They buried it, man.
What's going on there? What are you hiding,
They buried
Phoenix? What's going on there? Or do you think, like, we'll wait till the court case comes out here?
I think they buried it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they didn't want to throw it out over All-Star Weekend. They're like, yeah, we'll check in after All-Star Weekend. But, Justin, they haven't released the video. Maybe Drew Eubanks wasn't the innocent bystander. I don't know. But
we all,
never know. But
we got to see the video, though. Come on, TMZ. What are you doing?
They had the Draymond one.
So fast. Well, that one, like...
An intern sent that to TMZ and bought a house. Let's not kid ourselves.
Well, okay.
He was fired from the Warriors, but he lives in San Francisco now. Let's not kid ourselves.
But also, I said this about the Draymond tape. Like, if Draymond was a beloved member of the Golden State Warriors, that tape doesn't see the light of day. Does not see the light of day. Doesn't. But the fact that so when that tape got leaked so fast, you have to wonder, like, boy, how does he treat the people around him? You know what I mean? Like, I understand, and there are certain people who are just opportunists who are always going to be like, hey, ruin my entire career for, $150K payout? I'm assuming I don't know what that video was worth, but probably close to it. Or, boy, Draymond, remember all those times when I was a trainer and you just threw your towel at my feet? Yeah.
So it is rumored that TMZ spent and paid $120,000 for that video.
I said 150. I was right on the board.
So just for the,
I'm pretty close.
For the record, if yours,
I could be in a Shark Tank of leaked videos.
Yeah, like for the record, if yours truly had been, because again, it's as simple as like, hey, I'm the assistant video coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I have if I was in that position, Justin, and I wouldn't get sued by the Warriors in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I'd take that $120K and be on with my day.
Eric Spoelstra was like the video coordinator, and now he's the highest paid coach in the NBA.
Everyone's got the dollar signs,
I'm just saying, like, if you have got an organization where it's like this guy is a beloved member who just happened to maybe have a bad moment, that tape is burned. It is burned. But if you don't treat the people around you well, and you do something dumb, oops, email. I don't know how that happened. My hand must have slipped. Anyways, all that being said, Jim Moore's going to join us in an hour from now. Also, in about roughly 18 minutes from now, Tales from the Weekend It's not Who Won the Weekend. It's now Tales from the Weekend. It's not a recurring segment. It's just I have a funny story from over the weekend that I want us to talk about. And right now, it's Make or Miss.
All right, firing up Make or Miss. I don't want to keep you guys in suspense.
How much stuff do you have on me where you're like, well, you didn't think you were being recorded?
Oh, nothing.
But if you don't treat me well,
nothing.
watch out, big boy.
Nothing.
Like you wouldn't know 125K payout,
No.
I have a.
I mean,
I know you don't, but let's just say I know some radio producers who have the one thing in their back pocket. There's
yeah,
a lot of them.
mean,
I know a lot of them. They've got like in their back pocket. I'm like, if push comes to shove, email gets thrown out.
yeah, Justin's been great. He hasn't given me any fodder, man. I guess now I should be looking for it. But
Please
yeah,
don't.
It's true. But yes, no, nevertheless, good times,
Oh,
man.
you didn't think the mics were hot, huh?
Yeah, good times.
Interesting.
All right, well, I let you guys know that Justin will hate this idea, and I'll say this truthful. This is how bad the All-Star Game has gotten, that an idea like this is not so far-fetched.
Okay, let's hear it.
They should do away with the All-Star Game and replace it with a 2K tournament.
So, like, the players, play?
Yeah, like they get the two All-Star teams together. They do a little bracket type thing. It's maybe not even on TV. It's streamed on,
It's on
like,
Twitch or something.
No one over
Is Twitch still a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Still big?
Yeah,
All right.
I don't dabble in the Twitch because I like to keep my video gaming private to Brenden, but lots of other people
Well,
do.
and also, it depends on the language you use on Twitch. Can really get you. You got to be careful there.
But yeah, honestly, Justin, at this point, what idea is a bad idea at this point?
No, look, there's no bad ideas, right? Don't bring an umbrella to a brainstorm. We're not I don't know what they do other than you just keep going and hope for the best. I mean, sadly, that's where they're at. East versus West and hope for the best. Because, okay, so last night was really bad. It was really bad. And that's one of the problems when you turned the NBA All-Star Game from what used to be a layup line dunk contest now into a shoot-around. If that game was a 7-point game, it could have been a fun 5 minutes at the end of the game. The problem was it was a 30-point game. And that's the gamble you take with the All-Star Game is 2020, I believe, before the world got shut down, it was the Kobe game. Remember? Because we had lost Kobe Bryant. And I believe the All-Star Game was kind of that first big thing. And it was actually a good game. And I think it was the players kind of all got together and was like, for Kobe Bryant, we're going to make this a competitive game. He was the ultimate competitor. 4 years later, it was back to being shoot-around. The only thing you can do is roll it out, play East versus West, put the best players out there, hope it's a single-digit game, and maybe you'll get a run to the end. Or you're going to get big gold duds like this. But, yeah, 2K tournament? So this is the question I had. Honest to goodness. I understand. We do an entire segment on Tuesdays. I understand that every single day that goes by, I become more of a grumpy old man. I get it. I don't know what the kids are up to. But even me, looking back, is not for the All-Star Game, not for me. It's for the kids. Brenden, do the kids even enjoy that? I mean, they're are teenagers really whoa, boy, that was fun?
Yeah, not to say, okay. My 18-year-old brother is the pulse of all my youth, right?
He's associate producer in this program. Title only, gets no money.
Yeah, Mr. Brogan Slaughter. Going to Oregon State next year. Pretty proud of him. Not going to lie. The next Slaughter.
We might get one Slaughter to veer off.
You never know, maybe. But
can always transfer. That portal's getting weird.
It's true, right? He could grad transfer, man. Never know. But no.
Hopefully he's not going into communications.
Marketing, I think.
No, that's way better.
Yeah, but has some I would just say, the All-Star Game was on last night. My brother chose to watch House of Dragon, so it's a good choice in my opinion. But
That's what I was wondering last night as I'm watching this. I'm like, I get it. I am a 44-year-old middle-aged dude. I don't want to watch a shoot around.
Sure.
But
yeah,
I'm also not a fan of any of these players.
No.
Like, all my favorite players are gone.
right.
So I'm wondering, like,
That's
if, like,
fair.
are the kids, like, do they, like, Dame shot a couple from half court. That was kind of cool. But that's 4 seconds of an entire game.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
like,
so
are the kids even enjoying this?
Yeah, just talking to him, like my brother enjoyed Steph Curry, Sabrina, probably the most out of all.
Yeah.
And we had a moment where he's like, "Oh, did you see Dame won the 3-point contest?" I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of paid attention." Like it's just, and again, maybe that's not everybody. It's one specific example, but like, if you're asking if the youth, at least from in my bubble, cared at all about All-Star Weekend, no,
Yeah.
no, not at all, Justin. So
2K, I mean,
So I don't
maybe
know.
a 2K
Maybe-
tournament. I don't know. Maybe
do that in addition. Add that like Friday night, man, to give us a little more something. Because I just don't see it. So let's, yeah.
I mean, it was fun. Like, I will say this: I watched a couple. I was out of town for the weekend, little anniversary weekend, so didn't watch a lot. Caught up a lot yesterday.
Snow on the ground?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good snow day
You
on
got-
Saturday.
Yeah, I know you said yes.
Good snow day.
Have a good
and,
time? Nice, nice.
But I caught up when I got home yesterday
Yeah.
afternoon and caught up on all. Like watching the Rising Stars, watching Scoot, like,
That's fun.
yeah. By the way, I don't know how much of the Rising Stars you watched. I watched this. Can we get that, Scoot? Can we let the handcuffs off him, please? Can we let, like,
Talk to Mr. Big Shot.
did you see, like, he was, like, he was going, like, that was G League, Scoot. Can we get the handcuffs off this kid, please? Anyways.
See Mr. Big Shot, a.k.a.
I don't know if it's that. It might, like,
Who knows, right?
who
But-
knows? But, like, I don't, and maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's just like, hey, that's a game against kids, and we're trying to teach this kid to play a game amongst men, and I understand that. But I'm watching Scoot in that game, and I'm like, we haven't seen that guy all that much. Where's that guy? That's the guy, the NBA Summer League, like, going ballistic driving to the hoop.
Totally fair.
Where's that guy?
Totally fair.
Anyways.
All right, let's.
It's also a little different when, you don't have rim protectors.
Well, that's going to lead into this next one. Let's poke a little fun. No defense means a great result for Damian Lillard.
He loves it, boy. Yeah, if it's a shooting contest, like, who better? Who
Like
better?
maybe one other guy would take over him, but that's
Yeah.
about it.
But the problem was Steph
Did his own 3-point
he
contest.
had his own 3-point contest. What does Steph end up with in the game?
I feel like it was kind of quiet for old Steffertless.
Yeah, 16 points, played
Yeah.
26 minutes. He's 4-13.
Yeah, quiet night for old Steph.
He missed a couple of shots.
He's
and was
like, yeah, me and Sabrina were the main entree
Yeah.
yesterday, baby.
I mean,
Which-
that's the problem with the All-Star game as well.
Is it a stretch to say that was probably
It's the
All right,
best
let me
part of the
ask you
weekend.
this. Was-
It's not, Brendan, I don't think it's particularly close. Now, maybe it's
Yeah.
because we're invested here because Sabrina played at Oregon.
we know
but
the value of women's basketball?
in terms of what I saw on social media, and again, that's algorithms. It's not the universal. I get it. It's algorithms. But from what I saw, that was the most talked about thing
Not wrong.
that was in a positive light, other than the people complaining about the commenting or the commentating. That's what it is.
No one will ever be happy, so we just have
yeah,
to.
but I saw the most
But yeah.
positivity was like, boy, what a moment for basketball. Should have just turned the lights off, go home at that particular time.
Yeah, I
Because the
thought it was
dunk
awesome.
contest had some cool moments, but it was like, this is not star power.
Was
We don't
this-
know any of these players.
Was the dunk contest still better than the All-Star game in your opinion? Both 3-point contests were in my mind. Dunk contest, it's close, but you could twist me either way.
While we're complaining, and I don't want to be a complainer all
It's
the
not
time.
Grumpy Tuesday yet.
Here's my beef with the dunk contest. It's the same beef that I have with New American Idol. I miss old American Idol. American Idol, Simon Cowell told it like it was. That singing was atrocious. It was putrid. You need to never sing again outside of your own home. We needed that in this world. And then guess what? Everybody got all nice. It's like, wow, did you have fun? Did you enjoy it? And I love Freddie Jones. Freddie Jones, Oregon basketball legend. Barlow, legend. Mount Hood Conference, I love Freddie Jones. These dunk contest judges, just like, no. you missed the first one, you missed the second one, you get a 4. And they're like, hold their feet to the fire. It's like, that was a 47 and a half. Like, what? 47 and a half? He missed 4 times. That Mac McClung guy, though, was pretty cool. He's a fun little circus act.
Yeah, it's
Not
true.
an NBA player, but fun circus act.
I missed a couple years ago when our guy Anthony Simons tried to kiss the rim, man.
Yeah.
And during the COVID bubble, man. That was great.
They did the dunk contest at halftime. They're like, you guys got 4 minutes. Let's go.
And I'd like to know also, why have we not seen... I know he was obviously hurt this year, but man, we need to see Shaden in the dunk contest. Like, I have waited for that for like 3 years.
That one was a surprise last year.
2 years-ish, right? 2 years?
Now, was that...
Yeah. Maybe he don't want to do it.
Well, if I remember last year, he didn't get selected in the Rising Stars game, which was absurd.
Right, yep.
Especially because he's Canadian, and they do the...
Right.
And I think the Blazers at that point go, look, if you're not playing the Rising, you're not going All-Star.
That's fair. That's fair.
But, yeah, that would have been fun to watch. But
Yeah.
But, yeah, the judges in the dunk contest, like, no, that was a 3.
Yeah.
No, not good.
Like you said, Justin, no one wants to be critical anymore.
I know.
It is what it is. Speaking of being critical, this is going to be fun.
That being said, I love Freddie Jones.
Yeah.
Love Freddie Jones.
Your guy, man.
My guy.
All right.
Dunked over that Arizona State
This one's going to be fun. So, Justin on Friday, we'll give a little context to this one. Justin on Friday, or maybe it was Thursday. It all kind of blends together at times,
does.
folks. But Justin, he mentioned to me, he said, Brenden, there's been some no longer rumor. The NCAA football video game is coming out this summer. He's like, I will not see you. That month of, like, you will come
July,
in.
I think, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, that week, it could be like staying up till midnight and getting like 4 hours of sleep. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, I thought of a great make or miss shortly after we talked about that. And let's get right to it, Justin. Not one player will agree with their rating in NCAA football this year. Not one player will think it's accurate. I'm too low, bro. Too low. 85, too low. He's like, who would the best player in college football be this? Let's have fun with this. Who would it be? Does Dylan Gabriel have a shot? I think so.
I think so.
Does
my first thought, because like I saw a discussion on another show, so I'm ripping it off.
We do that from time to time.
Sampling, interpolation. All right, we're doing that. Which was, and then even our good friend Josh Pate had a segment on his show about who is the biggest names in college football. Like, if you had to pick the cover, because you can put active players on the cover now. Who's on the cover? I know who I thought of instantly, but
like,
to me, there's one guy.
Yeah, maybe I'm just missing it with all this. And who was in the Heisman? Like, this is really bad. But,
well, all the Heisman people are in the NFL
so help
now.
me out here. I'm drawing a blank.
Quinn Ewers, the only guy I thought of. Returning
That's a
quarterback
good
in
one.
Texas. The only guy I can think of. Because of all the transfers and all the other things, right? Who's
Could it be Jalen Milroe? I could see that.
Jalen Milroe.
Yeah,
Boom.
I could see
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe.
But it's a short list.
Coming back,
it's a short list.
Because, like, Dylan Gabriel is going to be, by the way, he is going to be a huge
Phil Knight might be able to pay to put someone on the cover. It might happen.
Huge name in college football, Dylan Gabriel is going to be. But he's on his third team in 5 years. You know, that stuff matters. Well, this transfer stuff, like, I've said it before, not with regard to a video game that I did never believe was ever going to come out, and it did. Good for them. But legacy stuff, you can change your legacy like Bo Nix and Michael Penix did, clearly. But, like, what's the legacy of Caleb Williams? Right? He won a Heisman at USC, but never won the conference. I believe won the conference at Oklahoma. Did they win the conference that year? Maybe not. But, like, what's Caleb Williams' legacy?
Wow. That's a great question. Just to look at this point, Justin, and obviously a lot can change. Guys move. You never really know, like, the quarter. But as of this moment, Justin, there's not a quarterback projected just out there to be in the top. Yeah, up until pick 22 of next year's draft. So that's like...
Is that Ewers?
No, not
Milroe?
even Ewers. So he's not even on this
Dylan
list.
Gabriel?
Guy from Indiana comes in at the first quarterback. But no, like, again, you're talking like Emeka Ubikov.
Yeah.
No, I'm drawing the blank on that. Wide receiver at Ohio State. Just a bunch of skill position guys. So this might be the year, dude. You know what they should do? Come back, just put a picture of College Game Day on the front. Put Herb Street, Corso.
Yeah.
And
old school one.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Like Chris Fowler.
That'd
Sorry,
be fun.
No
That'd be
offense to
fun.
Reese Davis, good guy. Met him once, nice guy, but
make you agree no one will like their rating.
Yes, 100%. Nobody's gonna like their rating. Nobody likes their Madden rating except for they have like a 99. It's like Justin Jefferson's the only guy that likes his Madden rating. All right, coming up next, we wrap up hour number 2. Tales from the weekend. Next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, time to wrap up hour number 2. In hour number 3, we're going to talk to Jim Moore, do a little fun discussion on what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks. Get his thoughts. Golf kicking into high gear. Tiger got the flu. I was all pumped up, and I have to have realistic expectations of Tiger Woods at this particular point, and just happy that he's out there. Just happy the Tiger's out there golfing, and he got the flu. Had to withdraw from his first tournament back. But it looks like potentially we could see more and more of Tiger Woods throughout the spring and into the summer, and super pumped to see him play once again at Augusta at the Masters. That was where it all kind of fell apart, right? It's like, he's at Augusta. It's too cold. Had to withdraw, made the cut, and then it was like, yeah, take the year off and come back. So we'll talk to Jim Moore on some golf. And what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks. So that's going to be coming up. Also have some football thoughts as well. But I did want to share Tales from the Weekend. We used to do, in this particular part of the show, Who Won the Weekend. It was a fun segment. Then it ran its course. We decided to make some changes. This is not going to be a new thing. But every once in a while, if I have a story from the weekend that I feel is entertaining, well, I'm going to go ahead and share it at this particular time. So Tales from the Weekend. I went off to Sisters, Oregon. Beautiful, beautiful Sisters, Oregon. Brenden, have you been? Have you been
Many
to Sisters?
times.
It is a cool spot, and love everything about. I love all things Central Oregon. Sisters, I'm a fan. Bend, I'm a fan. Sun River, I'm a fan. Heck, even Lapine. I was in Sisters for the weekend. Today is my wife and I's second anniversary, so we had a little anniversary celebration, which is why I was not watching an awful lot of basketball.
40 more to go?
I wouldn't put a cap on it, dude. What do you think?
Well, that seems fair. That'd push you both into your mid to late 80s.
So she's going to bounce when I'm 85? Just leave me there with my mashed potatoes.
How long people live?
My mashed potatoes and my IV bag, and she's just going to be like, beat it, old man. Anyways, but it was
average male life expectancy 79 years.
Hey, do I look average? All right,
just throwing it out there, man.
I'm 44 years old. I still have abs. Okay, so just saying. All right, neither here nor there. Tales from the weekend. So, it was a beautiful weekend in Sisters. Got some snow on the ground, and then as if it was serendipitous, sun came out yesterday morning. And warmed up a little bit as we were leaving, and pass cleared up. Because there's like a 9-mile stretch there up over the San Diego Pass where it's like, I'm comfortable driving in snow, but it's the other doofuses that I don't trust. But had probably enough gas to get home, but I was like, you know what, let's stop. Let's get gas now. We don't want to be stranded on the mountain if, in fact, something crazy goes down. Worried about gas. So, boom. Stop at the gas station, get some snacks for the way home, and I see this poor guy next to me. Brenden, and I don't know if you've ever seen this look, and I don't know, and maybe you will as you get older, but there was a guy there, and he was parked at the gas station, car hood up, wife in the passenger seat, kids in the back, and I know the look on this dude's face. The look is, I don't know anything about cars, but clearly there was something wrong with the car. So maybe if I just open the hood, maybe miraculously I'll learn more about cars in that 3 seconds. And he had the look, and I felt so bad because he was just like, yep, the car is not working. Something under the hood isn't right. He doesn't know what it is. And I know that look because that's the look that I get. I know I've been fairly handy. I'm a pretty good cook. I can fix most things around my own house. Really into the DIY. I learn a lot of stuff on YouTube. Pretty handy around the house. There's one thing I still know jack about. That's cars. I don't know anything about cars. I don't trust my knowledge around cars. I don't know anything about them. And I've been in that position where it's like, all right, is it the battery? Is it the alternator? Is it the fan? But I don't know, but I'm going to pop open this hood and I'm going to pretend because my wife is staring at me going like, and I know that they weren't from there because sticker on the back, Grant Generals, Shout out to Grant High School. So if you were the dude who has a Grant General sticker who had your hood up in Sisters, I saw you. I feel for you. And I know that look of like, all right, I gotta pop open this hood and like maybe a miracle will happen where there's just I'm tweak something and it works. Like a 1 in a million shot, but I gotta take it. And I'm like parked next to him, waiting for Kelly to come out of the store because she was in charge of getting the snacks. And I'm like, I want to go help that guy, but I don't know anything. But like, I can't. Because then it would be two dudes staring at an engine, going like,
And have no idea.
I think that's where but you know what I mean? Like you like your car. I don't know. You're not really you're not really a car guy, right? You take care of your
basic
car
stuff, but not much more than that.
But like, have you ever been in that spot where you're like, I'm going to open this hood and maybe I'll learn. I don't know. Maybe just at some point I'll figure it. And that poor guy, like the look on his face of just like, let me pop the hood. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I wanted to go over and be like, hey, bro, can I give you a hand? But
you're like, my knowledge is not.
I would be worse. It would be worse if I went over there. So to the guy out, we've all been there. I feel you. If you're listening to the show, Grant General sticker back in Sisters yesterday. Heart went out to you, but I couldn't help you at that particular time. All right. Coming up, we got Jim Moore. We got the RCM mailbag. Chicago Bears have an interesting decision. I get interesting thought with regard to the NFL draft. Talk about that next. 620 Rip City Radio. It is 8 a.m. on a Monday morning. Justin Myers with you. The NBA All-Star game last night saw the East get the victory over the West, 221-186. Damian Lillard earned MVP honors with 39 points for the East. Dame also walked away with some other hardware on Saturday night, winning the NBA's three-point contest. But three-point contest a bit overshadowed by Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu's three-point challenge. Steph edged Sabrina in the first ever NBA WNBA three-point challenge. Also in NBA news earlier this morning, the Brooklyn Nets have fired head coach Jacques Vaughn. Brooklyn was 21-33, 11th in the East. Jim Moore, friend of the program from KJR Radio up in Seattle, is going to be joining us in 20 minutes. We got the RCM mailbag. And is it all that crazy for the Chicago Bears to double down? What am I talking about? Well, hour 3 of RCM starts right now at 620 Rip City Radio. Hey, welcome back to Rip City Mornings. We're going to take a breather from complaining about the All-Star game. Like, it's not fixable. It's a culture of not trying. It starts from the top down. It's also far too much money in the game for players to actually even try hard. It's a league of player movement. It's a league of feelings. It is a league of, if you're not going to make the playoffs, just quit. It is a league of, if we got back-to-back games, I ain't playing that game. And it is a league of getting into the All-Star game and not really caring about the product that you were selling to the fans because you got your cash. It is a league of not trying, and that culture is 100% on the shoulders of Adam Silver. Say what you will about David Stern, and he was a mean old cuss sometimes. But league was competitive. Now, it might be a different time. Might be a whole different generation, maybe some other things. But congratulations, NBA. You have made trying or not trying popular because it's not just the All-Star game performance. Hey, I got a hangnail, week and a half off. We're not playing through pain. We don't play through discomfort. Load management. We're not going to make the playoffs. Guess what? We ain't playing in March. Not happening. We're not even going to try all that hard. It's a culture of not trying. So are we all surprised when the All-Star game comes around and none of the players are trying? It is a culture that rewards not trying. Oh, you're not trying hard? Here's some extra ping pong balls. Oh, you're not going to try on a back-to-back? Great. You're going to be rested for the playoffs, where we're going to give you all the time off that you potentially want. Oh, you're not trying because you're Ben Simmons. Guess what? We'll trade you to where do you want to go, Ben? Where can we make you happy? Welcome to the NBA, where not trying is the way to be. That's where it is. Now, I said I was taking a break from that because other than the NBA hitting that stretch run where there's going to be some tanking, other than some college basketball heating up, Pac-12 is about to be done in 3 weeks. Getting into March, like March Madness right around the corner. Obviously, the big thing in sports that is coming up is going to be the NBA draft, and it's going to be a lot of talk. I had a thought about this weekend as I was driving over the mountain. Just the way my brain works. There is a tried and true saying in the NFL with regard to quarterbacks, which is if you have two, you don't have one. If you got two quarterbacks, that means you don't have one. If there is a quarterback battle, if there is a quarterback competition in your training camp, and one person does not clearly emerge as the number one guy, you might be in a bit of trouble. If you got two quarterbacks, it means you don't have one. And for a long, long time, there was kind of a thought process in the NFL, which was, hey, if you've got your guy, you got to build around him. And if you don't have your guy at quarterback, well, you keep searching for him. And you got to pick. You got to pick one. So now we've got the Chicago Bears in a very interesting position. Because I think they've got a guy in Justin Fields that they like, don't love. And they have got a position where they have not just the number one overall pick, but also have a second first-round pick, a makeup, a do-over. It used to be called a trump card, but we're not supposed to say that anymore. I don't know. I get confused. But you got to.
Has it been removed from the dictionary yet?
I don't know. But you got a do-over. You got to, or get out of jail free card. How about that? So the thought process has been with regard to the Bears. You either trade, if you're going to stick with Justin Fields, you trade the number one pick because it's got a lot of value. The Washington Commanders are just sitting right there. They want, they're one spot away, but that spot is a biggie. Caleb Williams is up for grabs. Caleb Williams is from the D.C. area. Caleb Williams is an unreal talent. I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be a highly successful NFL quarterback because we know that talent alone can't get you to the top of the mountain. You have to have competitiveness, wiring, hard work, fortune, injury luck, a lot. But talent really helps. Patrick Mahomes has got all the X factors. You know what else he has? A lot of physical ability. And I watched Caleb Williams play that game at Autzen Stadium this last year. I watched Caleb Williams play a ton on TV. He makes throws that are unbelievable. Will that translate to the NFL? We'll find out. But we know he's just sitting right there at number one. Crazy thought. What if the Bears keep Justin Fields and draft Caleb Williams? Then maybe find another weapon. I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be sticking around long enough because where's their second pick's, 9, I believe? I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to...
they're currently projected to take Rome Odunze. Mr. Odunze.
Thank goodness he's going to the NFL. We need that guy gone.
Justin's like, I'm ready for that guy to be done.
Oh, my goodness.
He's like, he made every contested catch until the national championship game.
Every game against Oregon, he just Velcro hands. Anyways, so you can go get because normally you would think, well, what is two quarterbacks? I think the Bears might be in an interesting position where you could actually pull this off. Caleb Williams sitting there. The worst thing you could do is have that pick, miss it, and have Caleb Williams become the next Patrick Mahomes. Don't know if he's going to, but he might. Ask Carolina how they're feeling about C.J. Stroud right now. Ask Carolina Panther fans how they're feeling about C.J. Stroud just making the rounds from the Super Bowl to the Pro Bowl and everywhere else. And you got Bryce Young again. It's still early, but it was one of the worst things you could do is you have that number one pick. And if Caleb Williams becomes a generational talent that takes the Washington Commanders out of decades of mediocrity to a high level, boy, Bears fans are going to be upset about that. And Justin Fields is not going to be able to live it down as a starting quarterback. If you pass that, and turns out he's a guy, boy, that's going to be a tough sell. But real quick, the other part of it is Justin Fields. That ain't Brett Favre getting Aaron Rodgers drafted, and that ain't Aaron Rodgers getting Jordan Love drafted. That's not an MVP right there. That's a guy who's. So my thought is, why not just draft him and say, boys, let's compete? Is that so insane?
A little, yeah.
Why not? If everybody's in the league just looking for that special guy, let's go find the special guy and let's compete.
Who's to say he goes number one overall, Justin? And
I know.
And that's all. That's not to say that I think Caleb Williams is going to bust out, but let's not forget Patrick Mahomes, second quarterback taken in that draft. The guy who they thought was the can't miss prospect was some dude named Mitch Trubisky. So
isn't it the same as the Deshaun Watson draft?
Yes. So Mahomes went 10th, Watson went 12th.
Okay.
I'm trying to see what the next quarterback was. Yeah, that was essentially those three.
But Mitch Trubisky.
It was Mitch Trubisky, Mahomes,
to the Bears,
Watson. So,
so the Bears. But that's what I'm saying. Like the Bears missed out on Patrick Mahomes.
So how do we know that like Jaden Daniels isn't the guy who ends up popping, or again, I'm sorry, Drake May. Every quarterback from North Carolina, broad brush uniforms are magic, so I don't think you're going to work out. But maybe he does.
It's a good point.
Like Mitch Trubisky, Sam Howell.
But it was like that for Ohio State for a while.
It was. It's true. It's such a lazy way.
And
but
then
like,
C.J. Stroud was just like, yeah, I'm good.
But like J.J. McCarthy could be a dude. Bo Nix could be a dude. Penix could be a dude. For me, it's not quite as like Caleb Williams and all the Caleb Williams-ites, if that makes sense.
So I hear what you're saying, but if you're the Bears, coulda, woulda, nobody is going to be like, dude, you guys had the number 1 pick and you let Bo Nix go 14, and he turned out like I think
That's fair.
I think Bo's. I don't think it, but dude, you had the number 1 pick and you traded back and to keep Justin Fields on the team, and you didn't draft Caleb Williams, and then he's got the Commanders in the playoffs like in 2 seasons. So that's why I'm saying desperate times call for desperate measures. Now, I've also said on this particular program and programs past, I would be the worst NFL GM of all time. So take with what I'm saying, but I'm just chatting here. We're just talking some ball. Would it be that insane to just draft Caleb Williams, number 1? If Justin Fields gets a little kick in the tail going like, whoa, and he pops next year, guess what? You got a tradable asset right there as probably the most valuable backup quarterback in the league. If it doesn't work, then guess what? You've moved on from Justin Fields. You have the number 1, but you didn't pass on him because that's where the Bears are right now. Is Justin Fields good enough to get you to the Super Bowl? Don't know.
So the only precedent that I could see for this, and actually I think this would be unique. But
it would be incredibly unique. That's why we're bringing it up.
The only thing that's close is the Baltimore Ravens, when they drafted Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco was still a dude. Something like 4 years removed from winning a Super Bowl. 5, I should say. But like, Which was funny because at the time you thought that was the end of Joe Flacco's career. Didn't know he was going to come back off the couch and take the Browns Like this,
to the playoffs.
That's why I think, Justin, it's crazy because it would be unprecedented. It's never like even Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre. This would be insane because Justin Fields is 26.
But that's the reason why I think the Bears can pull it off. Aaron Rodgers, when he was drafted, like Brett Favre had every reason to be ticked off because he was an all-pro with a Super Bowl ring and I believe a handful of MVPs. And it's like, you guys just drafted a quarterback behind me? No, I'm not going to be his friend. Justin Fields, sorry, you got no room to talk. You have no accolades. You have
cool picture in the rain, though.
Cool picture in the rain. But you got a season to figure it out. Why not draft Caleb Williams? And again, money is slotted. You're going to pay that anyways. Now, if you trade back to number 3, it's, might be a little bit different, but you're going to pay that money anyways. Why not get Caleb Williams on your team? If he is the second coming, boom. You trade Fields or you release Fields, but you know what you got. If Fields turns out to be the guy and you see it in practice and you go like, guys, I don't know if Caleb Williams is it, then you keep Fields, you trade Caleb Williams for a bundle, and because some teams out there are going to be like, hey, we can get a former number 1 overall pick.
Justin Fields, 10-28 in 3 seasons. That's almost
a lot
enough.
Of that's on him.
That's almost a sample size, though.
That's all I'm saying is, like, if you're not willing to, like, it doesn't sound like they're willing to move on from Fields, why not just draft him? Why not? Why not have both? It's, what do we always like in the NBA? Oh, we already got a guy at that position. Well, best available. Take him. I'm not saying it would work for anybody else in the NFL. It would work, I think, for the Bears. Call me nuts, but I'm a little nuts. Speaking of nuts, in the best way possible, our good friend Jim Moore from KJR Radio in Seattle is going to be joining us. Boy, he's been all over that Ryan Grubb thing. Ryan Grubb, he's in, he's out, he's at Alabama, he's a Seahawk. Get his thoughts on Mike McDonald, what the Blazers, what the Seahawks are going to be heading into the season. And we'll talk a little golf as well. Jim Moore joins us next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, very excited to welcome back on the big show, friend of the program, co-host of Puck and Jim, KJR Radio in Seattle, Jim Moore back on the big show. Jim, how are we doing, bud?
Doing great, Justin. Baseball started for one of my kids yesterday, junior college level. You're an old NWAC guy. And
Yeah.
We're playing up at Skagit Valley in Mount Vernon, Washington, and I'm just out for a morning walk along the river with my dog. So, yeah, everything's great up here. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic until I just got PTSD flashbacks. Why did we always start baseball in February? What a dumb thing for us to do in the Pacific Northwest, Jim. Play baseball in February. And then, I went from high school hitting with metal bats to having to hit with composites and wood bats in the NWAC in the middle of February, freezing my fingers off. And I was an okay hitter, so I'd get sawed off right on the inside and feel like your knuckles just broke. What were we doing playing baseball in February? What a doofus thing to do.
As parents, before the games, after games, during games, we talk about all that stuff, especially the wood bat part of it. I don't get why the kids at this level are hitting wood bats, and then the kids at Division I are using metal bats. Don't you think the Division I kids are better than the kids at this level and could handle the wood bats? I don't know. That's kind of a weird one. And then the weather. Yesterday it was 50 degrees, and we felt like we were in Arizona or something because it wasn't raining. Because usually these games, they play them anyway because they're artificial turf fields. Now, yesterday's was grass, but if the pitcher can get a grip on the ball, he's going to go. And I guess you just have to do it to get the season in because the kids are out of school in late May.
Well, plus, like, when you're in the NWACs, you had to take these 4-5 hour van rides, right? Not like we're hopping on a plane like, like the Cougs or even the Beavs here in Oregon, or like where are the Beavs? They down in Arizona right now? The Beavs are in Arizona on a flight. Meanwhile, I was on just like your son was on a 4-hour van ride trying to dodge rainstorms. Coach is standing outside looking at clouds like they're the meteorologist, going like, I think it's going to burn off. I think we can get 2 in today. Yeah.
Well, I mean, everyone's there, but no one wants to be there. It's basically what it is. And a lot of us, sometimes we sit there and go, God, this is crazy. We're sitting out here freezing watching our kid play. Why don't we just go home? Because all these games are on a stream now.
Oh,
so you can just sit at home and watch them. But, it's still, we're complaining about it, but how much fun did you have playing in the NWAC? And I know both of my kids played last year. One of them hung it up, and, he's a student now over at WSU and just going to basketball games and partying and probably having the time of his life. But, I mean, these are good times, and when they're over, I'm going to be going, what was I bitching about? That was so much fun going up to Mount Vernon and hanging out with my dogs and watching my kids play ball.
It was fun for me, Jim, until I played a game in Treasure Valley Community College. It was a night game with very bad lights. Dude was throwing about 94 miles an hour, 3/4, and I remember going like, I can't hit that. I'm done. Like, this is over. It's a good run. It was fun, all league and high school and all that. I'm done. I can't hit that. We're moving on.
Well, that's the thing. I think these kids, after a while, they go, okay, I want to continue to play baseball. I'm a kid. I want to continue to be a kid. And then I think they wake up one day and realize, hey, I'm probably not going to play for the Mariners. I'm probably not good enough, so why don't I hang it up now? And because it's, as you recall, it's like a job. It's a grind for the kids. I mean, they're up lifting weights at 6 in the morning every day in the off season, but 94 with the lights not so good. Yeah, I could see why you hung it up.
Yeah, it was tough. We're done. Like, I played the rest of the season, did okay, but I was like, I think we're done after this. Don't think I'm getting a call from any Pac-10 schools, because Pac-10, that's how old I am. Jim Moore from KJR Radio up in Seattle joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Jim, we got to talk about this Ryan Grubb thing. You kind of fire on the internet for this Ryan Grubb deal. So Ryan Grubb was there in Washington, doesn't get the Husky job, flies to Alabama. Doesn't sign the deal, but still took the podium, and then out of nowhere, the new head coach of the Seahawks brings him up for an interview, and all of a sudden, along with Chip Kelly, which was interesting, and then he bolts out of Alabama. Do you think he always wanted to stay in Eugene? Do you think Ryan Grubb took one step to Tuscaloosa, looked around, and was like, "Oh, yeah, I can't stay here"? What do you think is going on there?
Yeah, that one, he explained it pretty well when he spoke to the media last week in Seattle, that the timing, he said, he was trying to marry up the timing as best he could, and it was unavoidable, apparently, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that one, but, well, no, I'm not. What the hell am I talking about? I didn't give him the benefit of the doubt on Twitter, I know that. What bothered me the most, and most Husky fans, since I'm a Coug, I'm always trashing on the Huskies. I can't help myself. You know what? I should be a grown-up. God, I'm like a senior citizen. I still just get all riled up about, hoping Washington's terrible all the time. And so I just was like, wait a minute. Okay, so he took the job at Alabama. He spoke to the booster club or someone down there and told them, I'm your new offensive coordinator. And then the next day he's gone. And what bothered me the most, Justin, was that he left. I think he had a deal in place with the Seahawks like 2 or 3 days previous to that, but wanted to make sure that he left right when the transfer portal closed so the kids couldn't leave if they – maybe they didn't care about Ryan Grubb leaving, but I think part of them might have committed or stayed there at Alabama after Saban left because they liked Kalen DeBoer and his offensive coordinator and what he planned to do. And then to not give the kids that opportunity to leave too, I just thought was Bush, just really bad. And I would have said that even if he wasn't like a former Husky coach. God, I just got trashed on Twitter because, the typical Coug ripping on the dogs again. It really wasn't that this time. Most of the time they're right. But this time I just was like, hey, as far as human beings go, that's just not cool. Everybody's like, well, he did what was best for him and his family. And I'm like, yeah, well, maybe so. And maybe he's making more money. And maybe he wanted to go to the NFL. But what about these 18 and 19-year-old kids that he left in his wake? And then they're like, how can you feel sorry for Alabama? So, yeah, it's like, oh, why don't you retire? Your hot takes suck. All this crap. And I'm just like, well, whatever.
I love that you give the Twitter people the same voice. The same voice, like I'm sure as you read it, is in your head, and that's the voice of every person on the Twitter feed.
It's like, God, it's so funny. Hey, Justin, you really have to have thick skin in this business, don't you? It's like, I don't know what your text line looks like, but our text line during our show, it's like, God, you're a moron. What an idiot. How come we can't just disagree anymore? Like, I say something, you feel otherwise, we disagree, but instead it's like, God, you're awful, man. When are you hanging it up? You're terrible. I can't. And then I always write back, hey, thanks for listening, but you can always change the channel. It's not that hard. You don't have to listen to it anymore, but no, I just, we'll see how it works out with Grubb. If you can get past all of the crap that we were just talking about, I think most Seahawks fans are excited about Ryan Grubb and what he's going to bring to that Seahawks offense.
Well, and that's Jim Moore from KJR Radio up in Seattle joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. We're in Portland. We're hanging out, having a good time. So I know every fan base, Jim, for the most part, like they love the hire, right? Every hire is like, oh, knocked it out of the park. And trying to replace Pete Carroll, a guy who's arguably the most successful coach in Seattle sports history, is going to be no easy task. But it sounds like people are pumped up for Mike Macdonald. He hasn't coached a game, but most people get pumped up. Is that the sense you're getting? Like people are kind of excited about the new era of Seahawk football, or is there a nervousness? Because I know Pete Carroll got a little stale there at the end, but still Seahawks never had anybody that was won like him before.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. I think people would have been torn, especially if they'd made this move last year or the year before. But I think there was a sense, even from the biggest Pete Carroll supporters, that, hey, we've tried Pete here now. I think they've gone, since they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots, it's been 10 years where they'd only won one game in the playoffs and a couple years where they didn't make the playoffs. So they just seemed like they were going to perpetually be mediocre. 9-8, still a winning season, still sniffing the playoffs, but really not having a Super Bowl caliber roster to get it done. And so I think people appreciated what Pete did when he was here, but they were ready for a change. And I like what they did there. We all watched. The Ravens this year, their defense was tops in the league, and he seems to be doing some different things schematically. I couldn't tell you what the hell those are, but he seems to know what he's doing, a young guy. And then they brought in all these different coaches, too, young guys. we're all excited about this guy they brought in as a defensive coordinator. Let's see, what's his name again? Auden Duty. And he's from England. And we don't know if he can coach a lick. He was a defensive line coach in Dallas. I'm sure he's a great coach. But what we like about him is his accent. So, I mean, it's just weird to hear him talking about football here in the States. And when he talked to the media last week, I was just like, God, I feel like he's, sizing up Manchester or something here. I mean, it's like, it just seemed like a soccer voice talking football, but it's going to be fun. I like the idea of having new faces around there, and let's try something different. And if you end up going, 4-13 this year in the transition, okay. Maybe down the road things are going to be better once you get the guys in here that you want. And but in the meantime, all the new faces, I think it was time for a change.
Speaking of new faces, Jim, do you think? What do you think about Geno? Like, do you think Geno sticks around? I know there were times you were ready for Drew Lock to pop in there, but they kept him on the roster. He's going to have a good chunk of his salary guaranteed. I learned that from our good buddy Brady Henderson. He teaches us stuff. But you got the first round pick. I know Penix is kind of sitting out there. Look, Bo Nix is going to be a dude in the NFL. I'm telling you right now, Jim. Bo Nix is going to be an All-Pro here pretty soon. Do you think they go quarterback? Do you think they stick with Geno? What's the deal?
I'm not sure. You mentioned Brady Henderson, and you and I both used to work with Brady. And I don't really know if he knows what he's talking about, to be honest with you, Justin. Do you? I mean, come on. He replaced Sheil Kapadia. Sheil Kapadia was awesome, and now you got Brady Henderson. If you're an ESPN.com reader, come on.
Oh, boy. You're still sour about the fact that he left the sports pit and got his own cubicle, and you didn't get a cubicle, and you're still sour about that, Jim. Brady is incredibly smart. He's very good. He lives on a boat. He's a boat captain. He does Sports Center hits from a boat in Lake Union, and you're still sour about the cubicle thing.
No. Actually, I love Brady because a long time ago, he was kind of my boss at the station, on the digital side. And he wanted me to go cover some Seahawks games and write some sidebars and stuff. And I'm like, hey, man, I just want to watch the games at home, but if you want me to, I will. And then I went, and then he had me write like a, 500-word story or something. And I looked at him, I go, hey, Brady, I don't want to sound like I'm a big deal, but back in the day, I used to write columns at these games, and I just don't want to come anymore. How about in exchange of me bringing a bottle of wild turkey? I knew he loved wild turkey, so I said, hey, I'll bring you a bottle of wild turkey every Monday that I don't have to go to the game. How's that sound? And he said, okay. So I started bringing him bottles of wild turkey instead of going to the game. But anyway, what was your question? It was about Geno, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's way better, though. It's a much better thing. It's this inside baseball between you and I from like 7 years ago, which is way better than what's going on with the Seahawks this year, clearly. But, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you. Okay, since you said that, let me ask you a question about that. So I got him the regular wild turkey first, which is like 80 proof or 90 proof or whatever. And then 1 week I brought him
get the 101
proof or 110 proof.
You got to get the 101. Yeah.
He asked me not to bring the 101 because he preferred the 80, and I'm just like, I think it might have something to do with his performance in the bedroom. I'm not sure about that, but
Jim. Producer Brenden is looking out right now because he is like, I'm never going to get Brady on this show ever again. Like Jim has now burned a bridge forever that Brady's never going to come on the show again.
No, I guarantee. Ask him about wild turkey the next time you have him. Okay,
I will.
Just do that. See what he says. I want to know Brenden, how long will that silence be? It'll be an awkward silence of about 3 or 4 seconds. Like that.
Good to know. Hey, we got to talk some Cougs though before we get you out of here, because if you know me, Jim, you know I am on the clock. Ask our current boss, Justin Myers. Yeah. He is on the clock. But Cougs are good. Cougs are good at hoops. Nobody's going to the games. I don't know what's going on there. Like nobody's attending the games, but the Cougs have figured it out. What's going on with them in the hoops? They're going to make a run? Sweet 16?
Oh my God! Hey, I'm glad you asked about them. I'm so fired up about Cougar basketball, and it's fun for me too because I've got 19-year-old twins, and like I said, one of them's over at WSU as a student, so he's going to the games. But yeah, we're all fired up in our household anyway about the Cougs. We're going to go to the tournament in Las Vegas, the last Pac-12 tournament, and yeah, I don't know. Kyle Smith, we're all worried now about him leaving. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, though, and he said, hey, You know, I just love Pullman. It's like an old shoe. You know, it's a good fit for me. And he sounded like he doesn't want to leave, but if they make the tournament and he makes a little bit of a run to the Sweet 16, there's going to be everybody coming after him, and it's going to be tough to keep him. But the job he's done with all the players we lost off of last year's team and bringing these kids in, Isaac Jones has been terrific inside. He's undersized, but his footwork, he just seems to get his shots off. And Miles Rice, coming back from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma last year that kept him out, and then freshman of the year this year. And you've seen him. I mean, he's just sensational ball handler, and he can shoot, drive, everything. And we got a couple of good centers, too. So it looks like we're not very deep, but I think we can make a little bit of a run here. And everyone that's following Cougar basketball can't wait for Thursday night. We've already beaten Arizona once in Pullman, and maybe we can do it again in Tucson on Thursday.
Jim Moore from KJR Radio up in Seattle joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Jim, this is another selfish question because I saw on Valentine's Day you tweeted out that if you are thinking about telling your significant other how much you love them, just tell them and don't put it on social media. That is your Valentine's Day pet peeve. Today is my and my lovely wife's anniversary. Do I just tell her and then just don't put anything on social media? And I'll just say Jim Moore told me not to?
Well, when did all of this start anyway? Like, I've got a friend that just professes his love to his wife all the time. And what are we supposed to do? We either go, man, you're making me look bad. His name's Corey Nagel, by the way. Hey, Corey, you're making us look bad by doing what you're doing. Or what I prefer to do is like, come on, man. What the hell are you doing? You suck. You know, like, what? Oh, that's so sweet, Corey. Then all the comments are like, oh, my God, what a great husband. You know, Corey's a loser. You know what he is? He's a loser. Nobody knows that, but on social media, he looks like a superhero. So, yeah, it's just, I mean, I love my wife. I tell her I love her. I don't go on Facebook and go, hey, today, Kathy, I told her how much I loved her. And like, oh, God, that's so nice. Shut up. Right? Am I wrong?
Nailed it. Absolutely. Absolutely nailed it.
Nailed it.
It's also hilarious, Jim, because you don't know this, but because you and I are friends, and the phones like know each other, right? And like our phones are listening to us talk, and because you troll like Washington people all the time. My Washington Husky alum wife, like you would pop up in her Twitter feed, and she would just curse you out on our couch. You're like your friend Jim, even though she loves you because you were my guy. You had my back always, so she always loves you, but. It was a tense time in our household when Kalen DeBoer was bouncing to Alabama, and you were just on Twitter, just trolling, and she had some words for you, Jim.
Did you tell her I'm nice?
I did. She does. It was just a tough time. It was a tough time in the Twitter world for Husky fans, and you pounced, big guy. You went right for it.
I can't, like I said, I can't help it. I've been a Coug for a long time, since '74, and I just want nothing but poor things to happen at Washington. That's just kind of how it goes, you know?
All right. Hey, you can hear Jim on KJR Radio in Seattle, co-host of Puck and Jim. You can hear him on this particular show every once in a while. We'll get you back. We got to talk some golf. What's up with Tiger? Are you going to wear the Tiger gear? Are you going to wear the Sunday red? Are you going to go out and get some?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm all over it. God, I had a bad week. I didn't have Matsuyama winning, I can tell you that. I didn't have him shooting 9 under on the final round to win this week.
What about the thing? Did he move the ball? Should he have been penalized? Did he move the ball?
I did. You know, I'm not aware of what happened there. I didn't see the final round. I didn't hear about the controversy, but yeah, probably. What'd you see?
It looked like, again, one of those golf things where all the rule nerds on TV decided to then go to the internet and start being like the referees that nobody asked for. And it was like, the ball moved like a quarter of a turn. It's still in the rough. It's still where it's at. He made the shot. Let's move on.
Hey, Justin, you're late for break again, aren't you?
100% late for break. Appreciate it. Tell Rich it's your fault. It's your fault when I get that email later today. Jim Moore from Cougs Go at Cougs Go on Twitter. Hey, Jim, have a great week, bud. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, take care.
There you go. We have got the RCM mailbag to wrap up the big show next. 620 Rip City Radio. All right, let's wrap up the big show. I mean, I don't know how much actual, important content we dove into for that previous segment, but that was an all-timer. My stomach hurts. It was an all-timer.
Justin, I'm not sure you laugh that much normally.
It's also because I know Jim. He's the best. So from traveling junior college baseball to online social posts about Valentine's Day, boy, what an all-timer of a segment. I had a great time, frankly, and I guess that's all that matters. But let's continue the good times because RCM Mailbag starts right now.
I said we were going to start the mailbag with this when he mentioned it to me, so we have to check in.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, you told me earlier you're out on cottage cheese.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know why.
It's just...
Because you don't
It's
strike
not-
me as someone who doesn't... You like pretty much everything. You're not the
I
picky
do.
eater. That's me.
If if there was cottage cheese, I would eat it. But it would be nothing I would ever out and out go and grab. Like, my wife eats cottage cheese with pepper on it.
Okay, that's like... Have you
just
heard of
hammers it.
people who do cottage cheese and peaches?
I've heard that as well. Neither one would be
Fair.
my favorite. Here's probably why. It's not like cheese. You know what I mean? And I guess neither is cream cheese, and I do like cream cheese, but it's not cheese. I don't know what is it? What is its purpose? What, other than a thing of cottage cheese, what would you use it for? I don't know. It's just never been my favorite. I have no need for it. I don't despise it, and if it was I would never make if you made a bet and said you had to eat cottage cheese, that wouldn't be the worst thing.
So you're not putting a cottage cheese on bagel?
People
Or
do
cream,
that?
oh, yeah, I've done cottage
People
cheese.
put cottage cheese on bagels?
Oh, yeah, cottage cheese, cream cheese, any kind of cheese goes.
Well,
I have tried it before. It's
I
not
love
the-
cream cheese on a bagel.
Yeah, it's
Schmear,
not
a
the-
schmear on a bagel is so good.
Cottage cheese, other than it having a little bit of liquidy?
Yeah, it's pretty
liquidity?
liquidy.
Yeah, liquidity. That's
It's
a
got
word.
some liquidity, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know if
that.
it's...
That's kind of the thing, with cottage cheese or with cream cheese that I like that there's no liquidity in it.
Yeah, it's a
But,
spread. It's like butter.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not out on it's not my favorite thing either.
Of dairy products.
Ooh, you take it to the bottom.
Bottom of dairy
Ooh,
products.
I like that. Okay.
King of dairy products is cheese, right? Nothing better than cheese. After that, I would go sour cream. Sour cream, second place. Regular old milk. What else is in there?
Got yogurt. We've got
Yogurt's better than cottage cheese.
buttermilk.
If you're making biscuits, you need it.
Again, whipping cream.
All of it. It's all better than cottage cheese.
Okay, so we're saying
cottage cheese is the last in its class at the dairy school.
I love it.
It's still fine, but it's definitely last. Would you put anything? Would you put cottage cheese above any other dairy product?
Well, I mean, I'm
Where are you? Buttermilk doesn't really count because it's an ingredient.
Yeah, I guess I would probably put at the bottom. I don't drink a ton of milk, but I would have more milk with my cereal than I would cottage cheese.
Also, coffee. You got the creamer in the
That's
coffee.
true. My creamer's not milk, though. We've
But
determined.
when I buy you your fancy coffee on Fridays, that's got milk
that's
in
milk.
it. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the what do you call it? The
You got the
coffee mate.
Coffee
And I'm
mate.
I don't think there's much milk in that.
I don't think there's a lick of milk in there. You can set it at room temperature
no,
for
you're
a
totally-
month and it doesn't go bad.
I would say so. Other than if you wanted to yeah, we'd almost need to specifically start going types of cheese.
Yeah, but all types of cheese are better than cottage cheese. It's just every single cheese
I love
in
this.
the
A
world.
good cottage cheese.
Even the stinky, weird, they're all better than cottage cheese.
I love it. A great cottage cheese debate on a Monday morning. See this after an awesome interview with Jim Moore. What else
Yeah.
could you want, folks? All right, let's stick with this. Justin, are you a more sweet or savory snack kind of guy?
All savory.
And why?
I don't know. I think it's just personal preference. It's I've never understood the people that get really excited about dessert.
That's me.
If you have dessert, you didn't eat enough dinner. You know? What would you rather have? Okay, so you have a bunch of pizza. Would you rather have one more slice of pizza or a bowl of ice cream. And it's like, give me the other slice of pizza, please. It just, I have snacks like road trip. Like I need like some chips. I need some beef jerky. Stink up the car with the beef jerky.
So I have,
but like I don't need like a candy bar.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you mentioned that, Justin, because there was a movie when I was probably like 13, 14 years old, and a super rich guy's having, someone over for dinner. He's like, I have my dessert first, And ever since that moment, I'm like, man, sweets like anytime? And it seems really silly, but it's like, like if you could, like, to what Justin just described, like another piece of pizza or have the ice cream.
Yeah.
Or better yet, shortbread cookies. Oh, I'm all over it.
You and your shortbread cookies, man.
All over it. Girl Scout cookie season's coming, Justin.
Like I'll never turn down dessert if we're there, but like it's not like I don't get a hankering for ice cream. I get a hankering for chips. All right. That's going to do it for the big show. Thanks to to Jim Moore from KJR Radio in Seattle. Thanks to super producer Brenden. Thanks to all of you. Have a terrific Monday, everybody. We're back tomorrow morning here on 620 Rip City Radio.